Hi, this video is meant to help you getting started with Citrix XenApp. In 15 minutes, we will install the 3 server components required, which are the Citrix licensing server, XenApp, and web interface. Then we will connect from a client to the Citrix environment to see a virtualized application. On this diagram, you can see the 3 server components that we will install from Citrix, and they are connected on the same network to a Microsoft Active Directory, and we also have a Windows client that we will use to connect and test our Citrix environment. What you can see here are the 3 VMs which I prepared on an Hyper-V server, and they are all joined to the domain. I have the ISO file for Citrix XenApp 6.5 and the license file which I downloaded from the Citrix website. Let's see how to install the licensing server. So you insert the ISO file or the cd-rom and click on Install XenApp Server, Add Server Roles, Platinum Edition. We need to accept the terms and conditions, click Next, and here we need to select License Server on the licensing server. So we click Next, Next, and Install. Finish. And so now we can configure it. So you can see which ports are being used by the licensing server, and we need to create a password for the default admin account so that we can later on log in onto the licensing server. So we start the licensing server and we can log in with the default account. So now we can import the license file. So simply browse where the license file is located. And again, you need to download it from the Citrix website, and the host ID needs to match the computer name of your server. So now you can click reread license, and when you go to the dashboard, you should be able to see these 3 new license items that we imported. Now let's see how to install a XenApp server. So we are on a different virtual machine, but again we start the install process, click on Install XenApp Server, Add Server Roles, we select Platinum Edition, and we'll have to accept the terms and conditions again. And here we select XenApp. And we click Next. And there's a list of additional components, and I will select XML service because this is actually required when you want to use a smart card with the XenApp environment. So I click Next and Install. Click Finish. And now we need to reboot this virtual machine. So it will take some time because some group policies are being applied, and when it's done, we can log back in. So we can access the role manager again, and we can proceed with continue with the installation. Click on Resume. And you can see all the components that will be installed. So it's fine, we click Next. You see that everything should be green, and now that we are set up, we can click and specify the licensing server. So here I enter the fqdn of the licensing server that we just set up, and the connection is successful. Click next, and we can proceed with the configuration. So we create a new server farm, and we need a database for XenApp to store all the data that it needs to store. Click next, and here I'm not interested in shadowing, so I will just disable that option. So you can review all the different options here. The XML service running on port 80, the receiver, can configure that later. So we click next, apply. When it's complete, we are being asked to reboot one more time. So now we're back in, we rebooted and logged back in, and we can go to the App Center to start configuring our Citrix XenApp environment. The first thing to do is to do a run and discovery for the App Center application to communicate with the XenApp server. So we add the local machine, since we are running on where the XenApp server is running. When it's done, the first thing we need to do is to add an application to virtualize. So you click on the farm and you can see which administrator can configure it, but what we want is to publish an application. So we'll give it a name, Notepad. And basically all we need to do is to specify where the executable is located. And we can specify which server will actually virtualize. So we only have one. And now we need to specify which users can access this application. So I created a group in Active Directory, and I will add this group here so that anybody in the group can access my virtualized Notepad. We click next and finish. And now we need to set up the web interface server. So we go through the same process. Add server role, terms and conditions. And here we need to select web interface. Web interface is actually soon to be discontinued. And the reason for that is that you see that it will install J#, which is a component which is discontinued by Microsoft. So web interface will be discontinued. And this will be replaced with Storefront. But a lot of my customers are actually still using a web interface. Now it's done, we click on Configure. And we can create a server. You can change the URL if you want, but we'll keep it with the default settings. So now we need to specify which is the XenApp server that will be connecting to. We can specify the type of authentication and click next, next, and finish. And now from a client, we can enter the URL of the web interface server. And you're being asked to install a plugin, so you can download it from the Citrix website. Ideally, you want to package that on the client for users so they don't have to go ahead and install it. But when it's done, you can enter username, password, and domain. Since we're doing Active Directory authentication, and my user is in the right group, so I can see that Notepad application. And if you click on it, the plugin will start the application. You see the Notepad, but it's actually not coming from your local Windows, it's coming from the XenApp server. And we can log off. This is it for this video. As you could see, it was really easy to install Citrix XenApp, but I hope this video will be useful to you. Thanks for watching.